1. That moment when you realize someone's been manipulating you, and then they pretend to change just to get control back. I want you to imagine this. You've seen through them. The mask has dropped. No more sweet words. No more fake concern. You look them straight in the eye. They know you see it all. And instead of getting angry or defensive, they soften. I'm changing, they say. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I want to start over. At first, you feel hope. Maybe, just maybe, they finally get it. But then you realize, this isn't growth. It's strategy. I saw this happen to a friend. Let's call her Sarah. She had a colleague who'd constantly undermine her confidence. Little comments like, "Are you sure?" Or "Maybe you're just being too sensitive." For a long time, Sarah tolerated it, thinking she needed to be compassionate. Until one day, she said, "Enough." She stepped back. And instantly, this person transformed, apologized, talked about childhood wounds, even mentioned going to therapy. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Real change doesn't happen after a confrontation. It happens slowly, steadily, without big announcements. The wise, like the Stoic philosophers, don't judge by what someone says. They watch what they do. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone can show me that I'm wrong, I'll gladly change. But if not, I'll keep walking my path." What does that mean for you? It means you don't need to argue. You don't need to prove anything. Just live in alignment with your values day after day, and the lies, they'll fall away on their own. I know, sometimes you wonder, but what if they really have changed? A part of you still wants to believe. You cared, you trusted. But Stoicism doesn't ask you to be cold. It teaches you to stay awake. You can observe without rushing to believe. You can listen without reopening your heart. And most of all, you can forgive, without going back to where the pain began. Forgiveness is release, not an invitation to repeat. I remember a woman named Kate. After years of emotional neglect from her partner, she left, and suddenly, he was softer than ever. "I know I was wrong," he said. "I'm changing." But within weeks, the blame came back. The sweetness disappeared. Kate realized the remorse was a role just long enough to reopen a door she had closed. Have you ever been through that? Someone who hurt you, suddenly acting more mature, but then everything quietly slips back into the old pattern. Stoicism teaches, you don't have to get angry. You don't need revenge. True strength is in consistency, in the ability to stay grounded, no matter how much someone changes their tone or tactics. You don't need to say a word. Your steady silence will speak for you. Ask yourself, are they truly changing, or just adjusting to get what they want? And if you're unsure, don't rush. Trust isn't something to give away quickly. It takes time and repeated action. Let me end with this. You don't have to prove you're strong. Just don't forget what you've seen. You don't have to react when someone suddenly acts better, just to drag you back into an old cycle. And you don't have to live in suspicion. Just live in awareness. If you've ever been manipulated by fake change, leave a comment. I choose to observe, not to believe too soon. Share your story, because every time we speak the truth about what we've come through, we pass that strength on to someone else. We're learning to live steady, not with anger, but with deep calm. You're not alone. You're not weak. You're just awake. 2. Subtle boundary testing. This is a move that's quiet but dangerous. Exactly how manipulators test if you're truly firm or just temporarily upset. Imagine this. You've decided to create some distance. No instant replies. No meets. You feel solid. Then, the first message arrives. Just checking in. Are you okay? You don't respond. Inside, you tense up. You want to reply, just to prove to them you're okay. The next day, a casual comment appears on your social media. "Oh, I saw you went to that place today." Again, it seems harmless. But you know better there, trying to see if you're still holding your ground. Are your emotions wavering? Is your boundary truly unbreakable? Have you ever felt that way? A small action, a message, a comment, a random hope you're well, is enough to make you hesitate. Enough to think, maybe I should reply. To explain. That right there is calculated boundary testing. They don't need a dramatic breakthrough. They tap. And they watch. Do you react? Do you crack? Why does this tactic work? You worry about being seen as too tough, unfriendly. You fear staying silent too long makes you look out of control. You try to stay calm, but instinctively you're drawn into the should I respond spiral. They're targeting exactly where you're vulnerable. The need to appear fine while not losing composure. Enter. Stoic philosophy, Epictetus said. A wise person is not ruled by external changes, but by an inner, unshakable core. That means you don't have to react to every little tap. You don't need every message or comment to shake your resolve. You can reply calmly. Thanks for asking. I'm fine. Or you can choose not to reply, remaining polite without surrendering. This steady silence is the strongest response you can give. Real life example: a friend, after a long breakup, went quiet. One day, her ex texts, "Remember how much you liked iced coffee?" A seemingly innocent question, but she knew better. She stayed silent. A few days later, he tried again. "So, want to grab one tonight?" This time, she replied, "Thanks for asking. I'm fine and don't need to meet." He went silent thereafter with no further messages. Her refusal to react preserved her self-respect. What the experts say, psychology, shows that when someone's boundary is clearly and firmly communicated, manipulators realize their approach isn't working. They redirect. But if you respond inconsistently or ambiguously, they stay. They believe they only need one more push. Questions for you. Have you received a just checking in message, yet felt your resolve waver? Have you replied only because you didn't want to seem standoffish? Have you wondered, if I ignore this, am I weakening? Let me share this. You aren't weak for choosing silence. You aren't isolating yourself by not replying immediately. You're preserving your boundaries, and that's one of the most powerful things you can do. How to respond: use a short, polite reply, emotion-free, or don't reply at all and maintain your peaceful stance. You don't owe anyone justification for your silence. You don't need to prove you're okay to anyone. Remember Epictetus. Freedom is controlling how you respond, not how others respond to you. So, when they tap your boundary, don't open the door. Let your silence be an invisible, unshakable wall. If you've been in this situation before, drop a comment. I choose silent with boundaries. Let's rebuild our sense of safety, not with loud words, but quiet, unwavering resolve. You're not weak, you're deeply composed. Stay strong. 3. Making you doubt yourself. This is a deeply subtle move, but one rich in reflection. Stoicism can help you keep your heart steady amid that chaos. You're clearly remembering a story, a decision, something you distinctly said or did. Then they interrupt with a line like, "Are you sure you said that?" Maybe you're overthinking it. It sounds normal, but your first thought is, "Wait, I remember it clearly. How can they say that?" Suddenly, you start to question your memory. Did I remember wrong? Did I explain it poorly? And bit by bit, you lose faith in yourself. A confident person becomes someone scrambling to find proof. Was I really right? Have you ever felt that? Did you ever respond just to prove you remembered, even though you were exhausted? Have you questioned yourself after someone said it was just a joke or you're being too serious? Have you replayed the event in your head and found yourself possibly wrong even when it really was you? If you answered yes, you're not alone. Many have felt an implanted shadow of doubt in their thoughts. It's one of the most refined mind games, making you forget yourself. Why do they do it? To devalue your emotions. If you stop trusting your recollections, that grief or emotional story you had becomes cloaked in fog. To redirect your focus outward, they don't need to rehash the story. You'll rehash it for them by doubting yourself. To control through uncertainty. They don't have to lie, they just need you to buy into you might be wrong. Stoic wisdom to the rescue. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens that defines a person, but how we respond to it. When you hear a line like that, you face a choice. Stay silent and spiral into, did I really misremember? Or choose intentional silence to protect your own mind. You don't need to react immediately. You don't need to justify or defend. Just acknowledge to yourself, I know what I remember. If they keep doubting, that's on them, not your memory or your emotion. Real life story. A friend named Tom was asked by a close friend, did you really say that the other day? You don't really remember. That question pulled Tom back. Maybe I misremembered. He spent the whole day doubting himself. Eventually he replied, I'm sure I remember you saying it at 3 p.m. before the meeting. He answered calmly, clearly, without losing himself. That response, polite and firm, is how you hold your ground, with thoughtful composure. What psychology tells us this? Mind fog technique is known as gaslighting, planting doubt to gain control. Studies showed that when someone's gaslighted, they tend to lose self-trust, leading to stress, demotivation, even giving up. If you're between 30 and 70, you've lived long enough to know, if you're wrong, you correct it. But when someone plants doubt in your convictions, pause and return to yourself. Questions for you. When someone says, are you sure you remember? What's your first thought? Have you ever doubted yourself because someone questioned you? If they keep pushing, how do you want to respond? Let me share this with you. Don't have to prove you're right if you already know you are. Not everyone is sharp enough to acknowledge the truth. And if their questions sound soft but their heart is unclear, that's not your fault. Stand firm in your own knowing. If you choose to respond, simply say, I'm confident because I remember when I said it. I don't want a long argument, I just want to stay true to myself. You're not weak for standing up for yourself. You're not selfish for skipping a question that unsettles you. When you protect your own peace with reason, you, by fighting, but by being steadfast. If you've been through this, leave a comment. I choose to trust myself. Together, let's learn to stay grounded amid words that softly shake your core. Don't let doubt speak for you. 4. Spreading rumors and isolating you from the community around you. This is a subtle yet deeply impactful strategy used when personal tactics fail and they shift focus to attacking your broader environment. Imagine you're living peacefully. You're working steadily, surrounded by a few trusted friends, supported by family. Then suddenly, you notice someone starts spreading rumors without any proof. I heard they always miss deadlines. People say they lack enthusiasm when helping teammates. No confirmation, no honest discussion, just whispered words passed from person to person. Gradually, colleagues avoid you, friends stop inviting you, and promotion opportunities somehow vanish. Have you ever felt that way? Why do they do this? To isolate you. When community support fades, you're more vulnerable and might return to the person who hurt you. To create ambiguity, unclear stories, allow people to accept bias without question, to hold psychological dominance alone and doubt it. You may lose confidence and seek comfort, perhaps, even from the one who started the rumors. You're on a project team at work. One person sends you a private message. I'm just worried you might be doing it wrong. Then that person says to others, I'm not judging, but I heard they did X incorrectly. No evidence, just throwaway statements. Yet you feel the atmosphere shift, people's expressions, the cautious distance. No one asks you to your face. You're gradually edged out. Stoic reminder, Marcus Aurelius said, don't let other people's behavior undermine you. Your mission is to live with the integrity you've chosen. You can't control what stories they tell, but you control how you respond. There's no need to argue with an audience that's stopped listening. You just keep your consistency. When rumors fly, stay calm. When doubt surfaces, don't over-explain. Just keep doing your job well, on time, spoken respectfully, delivered with quality. If you remain present in silence, Your actions will speak louder than rumors ever could. Questions to reflect on. When rumors spread, how much of your energy did you spend clearing your name versus pausing and staying composed? Could you ask yourself, who is spreading this? And to what end? Instead of reacting emotionally, as isolation begins, who do you lean on? One trustworthy person, a small group. What social psychology tells us. This is called silent social judgment. When nothing is openly addressed, people follow the rumors. Once comments come from even one influential person, they can ripple outward. Studies show that isolation weakens self-confidence and leads to emotionally driven decisions like turning to the one who hurt you. Remember this. The only thing you cannot lose is your inner solidity. When stories begin, you can choose to stay quiet and let the rumors collapse on their own, because no one's pushing them with evidence. Stay grounded in your realm, your work, family, or small community. You don't need to fight the stage. Just keep walking your path with calm conviction. You, facing vague rumors and feeling isolated. Leave a comment. I remain grounded, despite every whisper. Hold steady, keep walking. 5. Making you the problem. This is a classic move when they realize you've seen through their game. Suddenly, the script flips. You are the sensitive one. You're always doubting. You're ungrateful. They swap roles from wrongdoer to wounded soul. Have you ever been in that situation? You know the lines well. Why are you always so suspicious? I'm just trying to help. You act like you know everything. I'm exhausted from your constant doubt. Now you're left wondering, am I really that sensitive? Or did I mess up? This is a super subtle psychological strike. They're using a role reversal tactic. They become the victim, and you become the problem. When others hear it enough, they end up thinking you are the one who's difficult, ungrateful, too quick to judge. Saying it nicely, they pressure you into silence to preserve harmony. And if you stay quiet, they've quietly won. Epictetus once said, "Don't let anyone make you feel insecure by their words unless you agree to play their game." When they say, "You're overreacting," internally, you know you're responding correctly, so why doubt yourself? That's exactly what they want. To unsettle your sense of truth. Stoic thinkers know one simple truth. They only have power to shake you if you give it to them. What should you do? Pause and observe. Don't react right away. Breathe. Reclaim your composure. Speak calmly, without arguing. I'm sharing how I feel. If you'd rather not hear it, that's okay. Create some distance if necessary. You don't need to cut ties completely. But it's okay to gradually reduce contact to protect your peace. A real-world example, my friend Tina shared this. When she expressed discomfort about something casual said to her, the reaction came fast. "I was just joking. I didn't know you'd take it that way. Maybe you're just too sensitive." In an instant, the focus shifted. She was the one labeled too sensitive. For a moment, she doubted herself. But Tina stayed grounded. She replied softly, "I don't think I'm too sensitive. I'm just sharing how that made me feel. If you don't see an issue, that's fine. But I'd appreciate not being made to feel like something's wrong with me for expressing my feelings." Right there, in that calm reply, she held her ground. She didn't shrink, didn't diminish her worth, and stayed true to herself. What psychology says this is a form of gaslighting, a psychological tactic that makes you doubt your own reality. It doesn't have to be loud. Gentle words can do the trick. Studies show, when you start doubting yourself, you lose your instinctive clarity, and they gain the upper hand. Questions to ask yourself when you speak up. Do you often hear, "Oh, you're so sensitive"? Do your feelings feel constantly shifted by one clever phrase? Are you listening to yourself or to someone else controlling the script? A message for you. You have the right to react when you feel disrespected. You don't owe anyone an apology just for having feelings. You're not too sensitive for feeling uncomfortable. You are the one setting boundaries. You are the one holding values, You're not the one causing problems. If you've ever been on the receiving end of this blame flip, leave a comment. I stand by my feelings. I am not too sensitive. You don't need to shout back or escalate. You just need to stay calm. Live in alignment with your own dignity. Stoicism isn't about permanent silence. It's choosing to speak when it matters, staying composed, and keeping your center unmoved. Keep your strength, keep your truth, and see you in the final part of this series. Here's the English translation. In a natural, conversational tone. 6. Hitting at your empathy and kindness. Imagine this. You've set clear boundaries. You've kept your distance to protect your emotional well-being. You feel calm. You feel grounded. Then they appear not angry, not accusatory, just gentle, caring. I'm just worried about you. Why aren't you smiling like before? You're making me sad. I'm only trying to help. Sounds sympathetic. Sounds heartfelt. But is a true concern. They're using a one-sided message to apply two-sided pressure. They're not yelling. They're not baring their teeth. They're speaking right to your kind nature. And suddenly, you ask yourself, am I being selfish by not responding? Have I become too cold? Am I wrong for keeping my distance? As you start to soften, they smile inside. The game is won. You've reacted. You've been swayed. A friend of mine, David, experienced this. He stopped answering messages from a coworker because he felt the person was crossing a line. Reacting wasn't anger, it was a gentle note. I just worry about you. Why did you suddenly go silent? Aren't we okay? David felt hurt. He wondered, am I being too strict? Should I just let it go to keep the peace? But after a day of clear thought, he recognized it. A trap. Kindness can become a snare when it's used to ensnare you. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions belong to nobody but us. As Epictetus said, only when you give your own judgment and your empathy due, you become a victim. They use fake concern to hijack you, to make you explain yourself, to guilt you, but it's really about feeding their own need, not caring about you. Tips, so you don't fall for this. 1. Be wary of caring words that actually strip you of choice. 2. Check in with yourself. Are you genuinely worried, or being pulled into their game? 3. Stand firm. You don't need to respond every time they say they care. 4. Reply with steady calm. No over-justification. I'm okay, thanks. If I need help, I'll let you know. Ask yourself, have you ever felt guilty for holding your boundary just because someone framed it as concern? Did someone make you comply by dressing demands as just caring? Do you feel your heart waver when they pull at your empathic side? Final message. You have the right to love without being used, to care without being manipulated. Stoicism doesn't ask you to harden your heart. It asks you to protect your empathy from being exploited. Keep your compassion intact, but don't get caught in its trap. If you've encountered this kind of emotional manipulation, leave a line. I won't let my kindness be used. You don't have to prove to everyone you're not cold. You just need the clarity to spot the game and the resolve not to play it. Stoicism helps you stay centered in an emotional storm, staying kind, but never caught. 7. The silent attack and the waiting game. Silence isn't always letting go when all their other tactics fail. They go quiet, not angry. No apologies, just silence. No calls, no messages, nothing. You might think, maybe it's over, but silence might be part of the plan. They let you breathe and quietly watch. That silence is the final move. They wait until your guard comes down, until you start forgetting those boundaries you once held so tightly. And just at the moment you feel safe, they reappear, not loudly, but just enough to make you waver. A 2 a.m. text, you okay? A like on an old post. A mutual friend drops your name unexpectedly. They're not calling you, they're baiting you, like a predator testing the waters, hoping you'll let your defenses slip. I know someone, let's call her Lisa. She ended a relationship with an ex who crossed her boundaries several times. He disappeared, and she felt free. But 2 months later, he liked an old Instagram story. Just that tiny heart. And suddenly, Lisa felt unsettled again. Was he still watching? Did his control begin anew? They wait for your slip. That small reaction, just one tiny response, and you start questioning. Should I reply? Can I path back into conversation? Stoicism teaches us that the only thing you control is how you respond. Epictetus said, "You're not responsible for other people's thoughts, only for how you act. They're silent to lure you back, and you're the one risking stepping back in." How to hold your ground. 1. Recognize the challenge. Silence can be just another test to see if you'll relax your boundaries. 2. Don't reply right away. Give it at least 24 hours. Silence can be its own powerful answer. 3. Skip the explanation. If you reply just to settle things, you're back in their world. 4. Ask yourself, does this add value to me? If the answer's no, don't respond. Questions. To ask yourself, have you ever received a wordless message that made your heart skip a beat? Did a little like make you think, should I reply? Do tiny actions sometimes steer you into old emotions? You don't owe them your attention. Your silence is your declaration. It says, you no longer control my emotions. Stoicism doesn't demand confrontation, it demands internal strength in every moment. Remember, when they disappear, that silence is strategic. They're watching how you'll respond. If you've ever felt baited by someone's silence, leave a comment. I choose silence as strength. You don't need to explain yourself. Just stay mindful, spot the game, and stand firm. Your silence isn't surrender, it's protection. 8. They demand peace, but refuse responsibility. Peace, without sincerat, who've probably heard it before. I don't want any tension between us. Or, can we just stop arguing now? But you notice they never actually say, I'm sorry, or take responsibility for what they did, right? This is a classic move. Soothe the conflict with gentle words, but never own up to their actions. It's a false version of reconciliation. The fake peace talk, they bring back a calm atmosphere, wipe away tension, but deep down nothing changes. They're using silence or the sudden shift in mood to regain control without fixing anything underneath. It feels like relief, but it's a trap. The momentum to really heal is gone. No real change. No acknowledgement, just a return to normal without resetting anything. I have a younger sister working in content creation. She tried to smooth things over with a friend who had emotionally manipulated her. She said, let's put the misunderstanding behind us. He agreed. They smiled, pretended everything was okay, but then he went right back to the same old behavior. My sister realized too late that it was a peace talk trap. Stoicism doesn't mean clinging to anger, nor does it mean holding grudges forever. But peace, that is only words. That's not real reconciliation. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, real peace only comes when both parties bear responsibility. Epictetus said, true change isn't a mask. Responsibility isn't in promises alone. A Stoic recognizes that gentle words without responsibility are bait, an invitation to let your guard down without actual change. So how do you respond? 1. Don't ignore it. Don't let your guard fall just because someone uses nice words. That's when you need awareness the most. 2. Clarify what's unresolved. Did they say sorry? Did they acknowledge what they did? If not, then this. Peace is just prolonged silence. 3. Ask directly, are you ready to actually change? Or do you just want us to act like nothing happened? Responsibility needs to be spoken aloud. Even a small step is better than empty words. 4. Hold your ground. Peace isn't pretending the harm didn't occur, it's mutual transformation. Time alone doesn't erase wounds. True peace comes from change. Questions to reflect on. Have you ever received a peace offering that wasn't really laced with apology? Did you stay hopeful that things could go back? to normal, only to fall into the same old pattern. Have you ever said firmly, I need understanding and accountability, not just a request to let it go? True peace doesn't begin with soft words. It starts with transformation apologies spoken, responsibility accepted, change put into action. You have every right to reject fake peace and protect your mental clarity. Stoicism isn't about hardening your heart, it's about knowing when to stand firm. If you've ever experienced this and found a way through it, leave a comment. I choose real peace, not when words strip away responsibility. You don't need to plaster over old wounds. Real peace comes through being heard, seen, and changed together. 9. Disappearing to create a sense of absence, a silent yet dangerous tactic. They vanish with a plan, not by accident. Picture this. You say you need some time apart, but when you reach out, there's no reply, no read receipt, nothing, just silence. And that silence, that's exactly the weapon. They don't ghost you out of anger or hatred. They disappear deliberately to make you miss them, to feel that empty space and wait. They want you to come crawling back. And once you do, the entire manipulation cycle starts all over again. A calculated example: a friend of mine once ended an unclear relationship. A few days later, he just vanished online. No explanation, no goodbye. She worried, messaged, but got nothing. Then, a week later, he popped back in. I miss you. She was relieved, thinking it meant he cared. But there was no apology, no reason for the silence. That's because manipulators know that silence is a false alarm bell. It tricks you into curiosity and into reconnecting. The psychology behind it: when someone important suddenly disappears, your mind races. Did I do something wrong? Is he upset? Does he even care? That uncertainty pulls you in. And once you reconnect, you unknowingly step into their trap. Silence was just pretend. Now you've taken it. A Stoic lens. Staying calm in absent stoicism. Doesn't encourage ignoring others or leaving things unresolved. But it also refuses to let silence control your peace. Epictetus taught, don't let silence lead you away. If it's not explained, don't feel compelled to interpret. And Marcus Aurelius reminded us, when someone vanishes without reason, don't let it become your wound. So, silence isn't their only weapon, it's your response that truly matters. You don't have to chase, demand an explanation, or treat their return as a test. Here's what helps. 1. Notice and pause. When someone disappears, check yourself. Am I waiting for them to explain? If yes, that's a signal that they've pulled an emotional lever. Step back. 2. Set clear boundaries. It's okay to say, I need space. Let's reconnect when I'm ready. Confirm. 3. Don't chase. If they disappear to pull you back, let reconnection happen from a space of strength, not desperation. 4. Stay grounded. Their silence isn't your fault. You're not part of their game. Reflection points. Have you experienced someone vanishing out of the blue? Did you feel unanchored or weakened? When they returned, did you rush forward, forgetting why there was silence in the first place? If this happened again, would you chase, feel empty, or recognize the pattern and stay calm? This disappearance making you miss them, then showing up when you falter, is a deliberate strategy. But you don't have to walk into it. Stoicism teaches that real peace doesn't need presence. And true strength isn't measured by running towards someone who disappeared. If you face this, share below. I choose silence not because I'm cold, but to preserve my peace. You don't owe them your chase. Sometimes, the quietest stance is the strongest rebellion.